and they waste no
Nie
time to
wiedzieli.
begin combat training. Kilowog pins Hal to the ground and drops heavy boulders on him. This forces Hal to create a shield, but his trainer isn't impressed. He begins throwing discs that destroy Hal's construct with ease and send him flying. They then move to the next level, where Kilowog uses his ring to construct a mini sun beside Hal. Objects get dragged in faster by the gravitational pull. He offers to help Hal stand, but suddenly punches him in the face, saying his enemies won't play fair. Hal takes that statement personally and uses it against his teacher, eventually knocking him down. Sinestro arrives at the training site and is not impressed that the ring chose a human. He informs over the training and warns Hal that he won't tolerate weakness. He also asks Hal if he is afraid and prepares to fight. Hal then constructs a sword and begins fighting, but is easily outmatched and outclassed. Sinestro smells Hal's fear and says it makes him and his constructs weak. He completely overpowers Hal during their match and calls him an insult to Adam Sur's ring before flying off. When Kilowog and Tomar Ray return, Hal decides to quit being a man. Tomar Ray reminds him that the ring never makes mistakes and that its choosing him must be for a reason, one that he can't yet see. However, Hal has already made up his mind and doesn't intend to change his decision. On returning to Earth, he tries to abandon the ring, but changes his mind when he sees his father's death. Meanwhile, Hector teaches some students at a school and suddenly begins hearing voices in his head. He tries brushing it off, but the voices become specific, and he realizes he can hear the thoughts of one of his students. The student thinks he's and throws the student out of his seat and onto the ground. He dismisses the class and rushes out as several other students gather to help their fallen classmate. He immediately returns to his lab and performs a test on his blood. He observes that physiology is changing on a cellular level. He then gets a text from his dad, Hammond, asking him to come to...
Just leveled up, guys, into Trallalero Tralala. Faster, too. Oh, man. All right, guys, let's try jumping over this. Oh, no.
Hard drive that contains his analysis.
Hey, runs onto the computer. Besides running...
Upon seeing this, Hector realizes that the only reason he was chosen to perform the autopsy was his father's influence and not his own professional ability. Hector argues that there are scientists who...
Spioniro golubiro. Let's go! Glorbo, frutto drillo. Time!
He gets even angrier when he hears his father's thoughts and realizes that his father considers him as someone who is wasting his
Cappuccino assassino!
upon receiving a call. Meanwhile, at the edge of the Milky Way,
Cappuccino assassino!
an attempt to imprison him again. Parallax breaks out of the chains with ease, leaving Sinestro shocked at how powerful he has become. Several core members are blown
Scimpanzini bananini!
Parallax uses it as an opening to drain their fears and end their lives. Sinestro manages to survive and reports his findings to
Burbaloni lulilolli.
Explains how Parallax is able to force
Boneca ambalabu.
into his victims before feeding on them.
Scimpanzini bananini!
He warns the Guardians that Parallax is on his way to
Scimpanzini bananini!
enemy to dare to attack them in their home.
Cappuccino assassino!
The Guardians finally agree to speak. The Guardians narrate how they realized that the power of war was not enough
Frigo camelo!
against the forces of darkness.
Frigo camelo!
Using the power of fear, realized it was too unpredictable. At that time, one Guardian refused to give up the idea,
Boneca ambalabu.
proving that the light of fear can be mastered. He entered the forbidden chamber on his own.
Burbaloni lulilolli.
Was consumed by the power of fear.
Boneca
Scimpanzini
ambalabu.
bananini!
Sinestro then pieces the puzzle together, realizing that Parallax
Cappuccino
Scimpanzini bananini!
assassino!
on the Guardians and wipe out
Boneca
Frigo
ambalabu.
that they return to their forsaken plan and forge a yellow ring.
Frigo camelo!
Against Parallax. Back on Earth, Senator Hammond arrives at an event hosted by Paris Aircraft.
La vacca Saturno Saturnita.
Hal also arrives at the event and meets Hector, who is pleased to see him.
Scimpanzini bananini.
And commends Hal for ignoring his son. This further annoys Hector.
Boneca Ambalabu.
Attention, but isn't successful. The three men separate, and Hal meets up with Carol. He compliments her dress and congratulates her for getting the contract with the Sabres. Hal wonders how Carol pulled it off, and she points out that she used his